Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into the brutally honest math and psychology of exactly why you might feel completely broke and, more importantly, how to fix it. We're going to strip away all those societal expectations, look closely at the numbers behind our daily financial decisions, and hand you the exact blueprint to build real, lasting wealth.
All right, let's kick things off with a question that literally keeps millions of us awake at 3 a.m. Why does a supposedly good income feel like financial suffocation? It's something we've all asked ourselves, right? You look at your numbers, you know for a fact you aren't spending recklessly on luxury vacations or yachts, yet somehow, every single month just feels like this precarious balancing act with absolutely nothing left over.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the modern middle-class trap, then move into the 10K psychology shift, outline the optimal investment order, and wrap up with buying freedom. Not just stuff.
Okay, Part 1. The Modern Middle-Class Trap, or as it's better known, Financing the American Illusion. Let's look at how entirely normal societal expectations are actually financial quicksand.
$130,000. That is the true, real-world 7-year cost of a typical $55,000 truck. When you factor in a 6 or 7% interest rate over an extended loan, plus higher insurance premiums, gas for a vehicle getting maybe 15 miles to the gallon, and inevitable maintenance, you aren't just paying $55,000. You're paying $130,000 over 7 years for something that'll be worth maybe $15,000 by the time you're done. It is literally wealth destruction with heated seats.
And man, the myth of the $500,000 starter home is just as staggering. Your real estate agent might cheerfully tell you your mortgage is only $28.50 a month. But wait, by the time you stack on property taxes, skyrocketing homeowners insurance, the standard maintenance budget, and private mortgage insurance, which is basically a poverty tax for not putting 20% down, it actually costs nearly $4,400 a month. That is the stark reality of basic homeownership right now.
When you stack the numbers up, you realize something huge. It is not a personal failure if you can't afford a house right now. We are in a structural affordability crisis. The median household income in the U.S. is roughly $84,000, but to safely afford that $4,400 monthly payment without stretching beyond 28% of your gross income, you need to bring in about $187,000 a year. The math just straight up does not work for 80% of Americans. So the big takeaway here is that you have to stop playing a rigged game. You literally cannot skip enough avocado toast to suddenly afford a house that demands double the median income. You've got to acknowledge the math, refuse to stretch yourself into financial misery, and shift your entire mindset to find a different path forward.
Which brings us perfectly to Part 2, the 10K psychology shift, moving from survival mode into growth mode. This is the antidote to the trap.
Having $10,000 in the bank isn't just about the cash. It physically changes your brain chemistry. When you have zero savings, you are constantly operating in survival mode. Your cortisol levels are elevated. Every little thing is a threat. A $500 check engine light is an absolute disaster that might force you into credit card debt. But in growth mode, with 10 grand saved, that exact same check engine light is just a mild annoyance. The stress drops, and you start making proactive, confident decisions.
Hitting that 10K milestone actually eliminates about 90% of your micro-decision fatigue. You stop agonizing over a $4 coffee or choosing generic over name-brand pasta. It frees up all this crucial mental bandwidth so you can focus on things that actually move the needle, like asking for a promotion, taking a new course, or negotiating a better salary, because you are no longer gasping for financial air.
Okay, Part 3. The optimal investment order. The step-by-step blueprint to wealth. Now that we've cleared the mental space, let's talk tactics.
There is a mathematically optimal sequence to deploying your money, and unfortunately, a lot of people do it entirely backwards. This foundation is non-negotiable. You cannot build a solid financial house by day trading crypto if your roof is leaking. You start with that 3 to 6 month emergency fund, then you kill the high-interest toxic debt, grab your free employer match, and finally, shelter your cash in tax-advantaged accounts.
22%. Trying to invest while carrying credit card debt at an average of 22% interest, it's literally like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. Every single dollar you put toward that toxic debt mathematically guarantees you a 22% return. You are rarely, if ever, going to find a stock market investment that guarantees those kinds of numbers.
And getting your employer match on retirement contributions? Skipping this is like walking past free money lying on the sidewalk. Even if you're aggressively paying down debt, getting that match first is absolutely crucial. If they match 50 cents on the dollar, that is an immediate 50% return on your money before the market even opens. It's a no-brainer.
Once that foundation is rock solid, welcome to the tax optimization zone. This is where you legally shelter tens of thousands of dollars from the IRS so we can compound beautifully over time. You've got your IRA, your 401k beyond the match, and a massive standout, the HSA or Health Savings Account. It is the Swiss Army knife of finance, triple tax advantaged. Only after you maximize all of these should you even look at a standard taxable brokerage account.
Moving into our final section, Part 4, Buying Freedom, Not Stuff. Let's look at the math of momentum.
So what does this blueprint actually buy you? Well, the timeline of compounding is fascinating. Saving your first $20,000 is a brutal uphill push. At $1,000 a month, it takes about 19 months of pure discipline. But eventually, gravity starts working for you. Your second 20K only takes 17 months because your money is finally working alongside you. Fast forward to a $400,000 balance, the market just drops another 20 grand into your lap every 5 months, completely independent of your own labor.
But to get there, it requires a fundamental identity pivot. You have to stop buying things just to look wealthy and start buying assets that actually make you wealthy. Every time you lock yourself into an $800 monthly payment for a truck that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot, you are trading away a potential $70,000 in future wealth if you had just invested that $800 a month.
Because the ultimate goal here isn't buying a massive mansion or the flashiest car. It's having walking away money. It's buying the absolute confidence to walk into any room and know you have options. When you have real money saved, you negotiate from a position of strength, not desperation. You stop fearing your boss, and ironically, having that kind of unshakable confidence usually makes you way more successful in your career anyway.
An emergency fund isn't really about the emergencies themselves. It's about the deep peace of mind that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. That peace completely transforms your health, your relationships, and your entire trajectory. Wealth is just having margin in your budget. It's the ability to sleep soundly at night, knowing you aren't one minor disaster away from a complete financial collapse.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your bank account and ask yourself one incredibly vital question. Are you funding your freedom, or are you just financing your stress? Once you step off that treadmill of societal expectations, the math is entirely in your hands. You've got the blueprint. The only question left is, when are you going to start building?